These notes explain a little bit about the difference between Python's interactive shell and the idle editor, where we store and save programs. On your computer, find and launch the Python interactive shell. Then type this short program. Here's a demonstration. Now when you launch the shell, look for the white background shell so that you don't just execute Python using the black background shell. If I say print hello world, Python evaluates that statement and puts the words hello world on the screen. I'm working in what's called interactive mode. Every time I type a line, Python reacts to it in an interactive way. It's like chatting with your friend online. Python evaluates quote hello world as a string, and so it echoes hello world as a string back to me. I could also try some arithmetic here. Python evaluates 3 plus 4 as 7. The interactive shell is a great way to try things out in Python and see what will happen, but it doesn't save any of our work. Now you may be wondering, what's this hello world, hello world? All the videos you see start out with hello world. That's because this is just the common way of writing a first program in any language, is to write your hello world program. And so most textbook authors and programmers, when they are learning a new language, the first program they write is hello world. Now let's take a look at storing a program. When we want to type and save a Python program, we do that in the idle editor. Here is my first Python program. So let's take a look at this in the idle editor. Now a few things to note about this program. First, at the top, I started with 3 single quotes, and then I put some information about the program in the top of the file. This is what's called documenting your program, and I can start these comments by using 3 single quotes, putting the information at the top of the file. The name of the file is helloworld1.py. It's a Python program. The course number and semester, myself as the programmer, and the date I wrote the program, with a description of what this program is. For every program you write, you should have this amount of documentation at the top, and it's easy to do by using those 3 single quotes to begin the documentation and ending with 3 single quotes to terminate the documentation. Then I have my actual line of code that Python will eventually run and evaluate. Again, it's just hello world. You can use single quotes or double quotes, but if you start with a single quote, then you need to end with a single quote. If you start with a double quote, then you need to end with the double quote. Okay, let's save the program. You can use Control S or File, Save, and then run the program. You can use Function key 5 or Run module. When we run the program, Python automatically opens up a new shell to print the result from the program. I had one statement that said print hello world, and Python does exactly that. I'm going to close that interactive shell. I'm going to add another line to this program, similar to what we did in the interactive shell. I'll save it with Control S, and I'll run it with function key 5. Notice the 3 plus 4 did not produce any output. The only way to produce output in a stored program is to use the print statement. Because I didn't ask Python to print the output from 3 plus 4 in the stored program, it doesn't print it to the output screen when I run it. Here's the difference between the interactive shell and a stored program. Both of them will evaluate the value that I type in, but the interactive shell echoes and responds with what the evaluation of that line is, whereas a stored program evaluates 3 plus 4 to be 7, but because I didn't say print 3 plus 4, I never see the result. So if we do a little comparison of the interactive shell, we see that each instruction will execute immediately. When I close the shell, anything I typed in is lost forever. I'd have to type in everything back again if I wanted to continue. However, when I write and save a program in the idle editor, the lines of code are not going to be executed until you run the module. It starts a new idle shell each time you run it. Any changes have to be saved before you run module, and you can include comments and documentation, which you should always do at the top of your program. Happy coding!